Good morning, everybody. Josh Ezel, Breakthrough Real Estate and Property Management and Handyman Services. Hope you're off to a fantastic morning. Today's story is more of a learning and caution lesson if you're into property management, and I guess to always make sure you're on the up and up. All right, let's jump right in. Jump right in. If you're appreciating these stories, please hit that like and subscribe button right now, and then please share these videos. We try our best to put out the best content, which is valuable, entertaining, educational, a little bit of everything. So please, if you're finding any value whatsoever, even the inkling little bit, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate it so much. All right, officially, let's jump right in. When I got into real estate approximately 13 years ago, I knew management was going to be our thing. I was looking for a residual income. As an only child, I wanted to take care of my parents. I am a single dad with a daughter, and I want to make sure she's taken care of. And for about 100 other reasons, I knew property management was what I wanted to do. Now, when I got into real estate, you don't know everything about what's needed to get into property management. So I got started at Prudential American Associates Real Estate, which was so valuable. I can't even tell you, sometimes in ignorance, you just make the right decisions. Thank goodness, right? So I was there, brand new agent, getting trained in Prudential's, realtor ways. So I live in Glendale. I had to drive all the way to Tempe for this training, okay? So sitting there, I meet Sally, one of the greatest people ever, changed my life, amazing. She was the trainer there. And I sit kind of towards the back-ish just because it was available. And right next to me sits a gentleman, a little older than me, and we just start chatting. Come to find out, his name's Bob. He is new to Prudential. He's a fairly new agent, and he was an avid golfer, and wouldn't you know it, I had just gone golfing for the first time about a week prior, and it unlocked a beast, I have to say. The first time I went golfing was a really crazy experience. It's probably another story for a different time, and was a, let's call it wasn't a wonderful experience, but for some reason I loved it. And the moment I got home, I was out of state at the time, I went golfing, and then I've been golfing basically ever since. So when we sat down to find somebody who was into golf, I mean, he turned into my best friend instantly, And wouldn't you know it, he lives in the Northwest Valley, so it was convenient. So I invited him to golf, and then we just started hitting it off. And Bob and I kind of turned into competitors, right? So I would get a sale, he would get a sale, and we just were competitive. Both of us wanted to get into management, but Prudential didn't allow it. And I wanted to make that jump, but I was scared to leave Prudential, and Bob just made the jump. He had a wonderful transaction with a different broker, and that broker tried to recruit him, and that broker, blah, 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 offered him a great incentive to come by. And then it also said, yeah, please do management, whatever it takes to grow your career. And so for about, let's say, a year, maybe not quite a year, Bob was trying to convince me to come over to this other brokerage, and I was just like, but it's Prudential, man, it's Prudential, And then one day he showed me what would be the equivalent paychecks, and he was taking home over $2,000 more per paycheck than I was. Enough said, let's move over, okay? So that's the foundation for where we're taking off. I launched my property management company. He launched his property management company. Continue the competition. All right. 1 year I beat him. The next year he beat me. And I'm like, dude, how did you beat me? He's like, well, I got some really good clients. They're buying some investment properties. And, things are going well. I'm like, dude, no, I'm having my best year ever. And this year you're actually beating me. And it wasn't because he was selling more homes. It was because the homes he was selling were more expensive. I sold like 30 homes. I think he sold like 24 homes, but his volume was higher than mine, right? So we had this competition, but I was adding to my property management company. He was growing his property management company. It was really cool. So every week when we'd golf, it was TTTT, right? One day I get a call from our broker. Hey, Bob's kind of got into some stuff a little bit with his client. Is there any way you and your dad could help us out? So it's like, of course we can. So input dad, who was actually managing the property management side at that point in time. And we start digging into what was going on. Now, I'm not gonna make any judgments whatsoever, and everything worked out well in the hindsight, just to let everybody know ahead of time. But such weird things were taking place, such as regular maintenance issues performed by people named John Smith. Different issues, but unfortunately receipts weren't able to be found. There was a bunch of kind of shady things going on, but it was all there, but it was just not quite right. Well, unfortunately, one of Bob's clients was the gentleman who was buying all these really nice homes. And this gentleman was questioning if these were valid expenses or not. And as I love Bob to death, Bob is a very nice guy. He's kind of a passive-y guy, doesn't like confrontation, and he did the best he could, and unfortunately he just didn't have all the documentation needed to prove everything that needed to be proven, okay? So we had to step in and kind of forensically go through everything and try to help him out. Now, he's another guy with our brokerage, so obviously we're really hoping he's going to be doing really good, but obviously we have a fiduciary duty to these clients to make sure everything was good. So we forensically looked at about 4 years worth of maintenance over the course of about 12 different properties. Yeah, 12 different properties. Unfortunately, when all was said and done, and here's the learning lesson: property management, keep your receipts, make sure you're using reputable vendors for all maintenance, everything, right? And make sure you're adhering to your contracts, whether it's $250, $350, whatever it is you're allowed to spend for the client without getting their explicit permission. Make sure you know those boundaries, okay? When all was said and done, we ended up creating a settlement for both sides they were, let's just say this, as a mediator, you know you're doing a good job if both sides are unhappy with you, right? And this settlement was approximately $25,000. Lessons learned. And I hate to say this, but we ended up having to take over Bob's management of that client. We've always taken care of Bob. Bob's still a really, really good friend of mine, still a realtor. He's still doing management. He actually launched his own brokerage. He's doing quite well right now. And that client, we moved on, and that client ended up turning into one of my biggest clients in a whole different capacity. He ended up selling a lot of those homes and moving into the multi-unit apartment side. So Bob got referrals and got taken care of for everything he did on that end, and then I ended up having some of my biggest sales, and it helped me explode property management in a whole different direction that I could have only dreamed of at the time. So, lessons learned, take good care of everybody, and everything should work out in the long run, right? Interesting story, huh? What's your lessons learned from this story? What's your experience with property management? What's your creative stuff? Like, what's one of the weirdest? Starts off bad, and then in, like, what is it, 3-5 years later, you look back and like, wow, that was actually one of the coolest, best things that ever happened to me. Interesting, huh? Thanks again for watching. Please check out our website, Patreon page. Again, hit that like and subscribe button right now. And if you find these entertaining, please share them. Let's grow our community. Leave your comments below. Please share your stories. And I'll talk to you later.
if it's not too quiet outside. And I could get some sleep tonight. Read me a story, please. Make it boring.